The Chiefs rookies made it through their section of training camp, and now it gets real. What happened in this first couple of days, and how did they wrap up the rookie only portion of training camp? Let's get after it and go through the events. Welcome back. I'm Ryan. This is me going rogue. This is RGR Football. Like, sub, hit that bell. Let's get into it. A couple of things. There's only a few days each training camp where the rookies are by themselves, and they get that first glimpse at what training camp's going to be like. On Friday, it was the last day of this process, and a couple of things changed. Xavier Worthy caught no passes today because of one reason, and it's very, very simple. There was no Patrick Mahomes, and there was absolutely no Carson Wentz on the field today. Mahomes has been, getting a lot of takeaways lately, and he just got another. He is now like the best male athlete in professional sports, as voted on, and that's a day that you don't necessarily react to, but it happened to be a day when he got off. He and Carson Wentz had the day off. They usually do that with veterans, especially the quarterbacks that are in the rookie portion. So it fell to Ian Book, Chris Aludicon to throw the ball around, and it just so happened that it didn't really get the job done, especially when it comes to Xavier Worthy, but he was out there and he was able to run. And I think Worthy is going to be the focus for us here in the short term, especially as it's about to get interesting when the veterans report tomorrow. So the first phase for Xavier Worthy, I think, has been a success. He's been able to go. He's been making some catches from Patrick Mahomes. Obviously hasn't been able to keep that going, and that's going to be just fine. Now it takes the next step forward. Unfortunately, today, what we found out as well is that it is not all that great for Garrett Prince. One rookie in what has been a very, very low volatility portion of training camp. I've been really happy with that. Garrett Prince, unfortunately, came up, and today on the veteran, non-veteran day, the last day of the rookie meeting camp inside of training camp, he was seen walking in a walking boot, not practicing. This is a guy that I think was going to compete with Kupp for a practice squad spot as a tight end, deep position. So I can't say that it's going to affect the 53-man roster. This isn't an injury that we're going to talk about all season long. But for him, a tough one. He made a couple of nice catches the other day, has been present and getting some good work in. And so setback for Garrett Prince, definitely. But somebody that I think is probably an option to probably come to an agreement with, sever, and then bring back to the practice squad. We'll see what happens. Now it's about Kupp pushing the big four onto that roster. And that, I think, actually helps Kupp's ability to get into the mix. He'll get more reps. It won't be a lot now. Rookie minicamp phase for the 5th and 6th tight ends is probably the epitome of when you get looks. But now you have a couple of things that are going to go on and going to give you a few more reps to look at when you have guys that are going to get days off. Travis Kelce's going to get days off in training camp. Noah Gray's going to get days off in training camp, and that just bumps you up the list. So there was a couple of things going on, a couple of 7-on-7 sessions, not anything worth mentioning in terms of the guys that were out there, but a couple of plays made by the defense that I think do set the tone for what's about to happen tomorrow that we're going to get to here in just a bit. It is about making those plays when you get the opportunity. And today, there was a PBI made by Kamal Hadden that ended up in the hands of one of the backup linebackers, Swayze Bozeman, that was a great play that sets him up for, okay, if I'm given the opportunity, I can be in the right place. Now, whether he can do that against the likes of Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice, that's a different story. But making plays on the ball is what it is about for Hadden, who is a physical player and has the tools and the traits that the Chiefs like. But he's got to be able to take his opportunities and make the most of them. This was certainly one for him. Ending the rookie portion of training camp on a high note for a 6th-round draft pick that is definitely in a fight to even get a look at the roster right now. So kudos to him. Additionally, second-year player Trey Dean was able to break up a pass while he was out there, and is a guy that technically on the depth chart is probably the 4th safety, but he's got a long road with a lot of hurdles to make this 53-man. I do believe he is a practice squad candidate, but again, when you can break up passes, it is a big thing, even when it's Ian Book or it's Chris Aludicon throwing the ball. That's fine. you make the most of your opportunities. I think that that's something he can hang his hat on. What goes on next is going to be the big thing. Tomorrow, you're going to see veterans report. They're going to go through a conditioning test. There's going to be a lot of talk about who's in, when, where, and how. It is the end of the road for the rookies being solo. It is now the next step forward. Every phase of the NFL season takes rookies up a notch, and this is the next one. You got your feet wet. You understand where things are. You probably know the campus now up in St. Joe, and you know where you're supposed to be. Now the veterans are going to show up and start pushing you around. Do you push back? How prepared are you to push back? That's the next step forward. I'm looking forward to it because it's about to start ramping up. There's also been a couple of announcements made in that there are going to be a limitation on some days at training camp of 5,000 visitors. Mark Donovan did make some announcements that way in today's presser, and also that he was not committed to long-term staying in St. Joe. There's an extension on the table right now, but it is not a foregone conclusion. So there's still a lot to come, and I think that we have to go through and make sure that we're prepared for all of the eventualities to get into that space. Now, another couple of aspects, we've talked a lot about the linebackers here, some tackling going on. This is one of the few phases within the preseason you can actually work tackling technique. See Brendan Daly out there working on some of that. And I want to point out not only how important that is, but also that it comes down to taking your traits now that you're getting into shape with and taking them to the next level. Do want to point out that Fabian Lovett is long and lean. This is not just a full-bodied Colin Saunders type guy, even though he's wearing Colin Saunders' former number. But they give you an image here that actually shows you the length that he has to utilize. And that arm length is very, very important, but it also comes attached to a lower body that's got to be explosive and it got to be extensible. And sometimes when you get the heavier bodied guys like Derek Nottie, like Colin Saunders, you really have to be aware and cognizant of that and training the lower body to make sure that it stays explosive. Colin doesn't have that problem. I still hold in my heart a way that Colin ends up back here and Mr. Binky gets back to the Chiefs at some point. Had to go get a contract elsewhere. I understand that. Saints are having some problems, losing guys to IR. It might end up a rough season for them down in the Big Easy, but you never know if he'd be able to come back and maybe they can find a way to get their numbers sorted out. So rookies making some progress there, showing what they have to offer. And I think something that we're going to have to pay special attention to as they take the next step forward. Now, as the vets come in, number one thing to watch is what happens with Joe Thuney. As soon as we know that over the weekend, we'll have comment on it because that's going to be a ripple effect, a domino that goes through the entire offense's setup. And as these veterans report, it's going to be a little bit hit or miss. Don't know if we'll see Joe Thuney arrive. There's a whole thing in the timing this year that might be a little bit more difficult. But when they hit the field, got to know, first and foremost, what's up with Joe Thuney. The second one for me is going to be Jalen Watson because I need to know just how the prognosis is for his return to the field. Right now, he is starting on the PUP as well. Charles Omenihu, Derek Nottie, both were kind of expected to be on the PUP. I don't think Nottie will stay there forever. But Thuney and Watson are the highlights, so keep an eye on those. And that's going to be it for the updates for me today. I hope that you enjoy your weekend. Training camp is about to take that next gear. Let's get after it. Hope that you'll stick around with us. Make sure you like and sub to this channel. You'll see me and Dan and Gary all camp long. We got it all for you. Thanks for being with me right now. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.